I'm Erica Friedman and welcome back to Yuri Studio. This is the final video of an amazing, crazy year, so I thought I'd wrap up with a visit to the beginning. When you come onto this channel for the very first time, you're presented with a video called A Very Brief History of Yuri, which was originally presented in 2016 in Tokyo. If you've not yet watched that, I'll put a link to it in the show notes and put it down here. Go ahead, watch it, and come on back. Although I only wrote that 6 years ago, and 3 of those years were pandemic years, it seems a lifetime ago. So much has changed in the last 6 years, I really thought it was time to do an update. So welcome to what I am jokingly referring to as an even briefer history of Yuri. The last slide of what is now part 1 reads, Yuri, now with lesbians. I was kind of joking when I wrote that because until the 2010s, one of the defining characteristics of Yuri was that there weren't many lesbians or any queerness of any kind. Most Yuri had been set in unreal places and exotic locations like ridiculously elite girls' schools where platonic and romantic love could flourish, but there were no queer girls of any kind. But the 2010s saw significant change in this. Multiple Yuri manga magazines in print at the beginning of the decade gave home to a whole new generation of Yuri manga artists and several OG Yuri manga artists who'd been working since the 1990s. This led Yuri to being seen as a distinct genre of its own with its own tropes and stereotypes. In season 2 and 3, we've covered a number of those. So just a very few years after I presented that in Tokyo, there were a number of schoolgirl series that instead of just another girl meets girl, girl likes girl, other girl likes her back, the end, what I refer to as story A, these stories had something new to offer. Asagao to Kasa-san, Kasa-san and Morning Glories by Takashima Hiromi is a heartfelt romance between two girls in high school that has had a remarkable publishing history from print to web to print again, then a stunningly beautiful animated movie, and it's still ongoing in print. Long after Kasa-san and Yamada met and fell in love in high school, they are now in college, planning on living together and working through balancing their interests, their insecurities, building careers, and finding time for one another. The manga is available in English from Seven Seas and the movie from Sentai Filmworks. As usual, links will be in the show notes. Also around that time, another series was beginning, Yagate Kimi ni Naru Bloom Into You by Nakatani Neo. Relying on an apparent couple of Yuri and a number of established Yuri tropes, Bloom Into You took time to look into issues of queer life, although in questionably ham-handed ways at the beginning. As the series developed, though, one of the characters stood out as a self-identified lesbian character, and 2 adult female characters were in a long-term relationship and offered her a role model. Sayaki Sayaka then got 3 novels of her own detailing her young life and her recognition of herself as a lesbian. The 3rd and final novel follows her in her first successful romantic relationship with another woman. It was a delight for me to read, seeing a self-identified lesbian character get her lead moment. Still, heads up, Eiro and Ace folks might feel roughly treated by the manga narrative, which could have used some sensitivity consultation. The manga and Sayaka novels are available from Seven Seas, and the anime is available from Sentai Filmworks. Both these series were harbingers of change in Yuri, but there was no way for us to know how fast those changes were coming. As the 2010s ended, a new subgenre was really taking off in Yuri. This subgenre is known as Shikaijin Yuri, and I did a whole video about that in season 2, so please feel free to pop over and watch that for a more detailed discussion. The brief version is that creators who had grown up on magical girls in elite schools were growing up and getting jobs and thinking more about women their own age. Folks who had been creating Yuri for years were turning their talents to more complicated stories of adult life. As I round up 2022, there are a lot of excellent Yuri stories about adult women that we would not have had even 6 years ago. Both creators and audiences are really ready for these kinds of stories. I want to specifically talk about the first series listed on this page because 2022 saw a live-action series based on the manga for Tsukuritai Onna to Tabetai Onna. She loves to cook, she loves to eat, the manga of which is out from Yen Press. This adaptation didn't shy away from the content as it is expressed in the manga, such as women talking about their periods and using the word lesbian on the national network NHK. It is an outstanding adaptation of a manga, and it gives me hope for more and better representation on Japanese TV. The other titles here are also exceptional examples of adult life. Donuts Under a Crescent Moon by Usui Shio is a slow-moving story about two women who have never been allowed to find out who they are. Their relationship frees them to discover what they want from life. This is a lovely, low-key story about asexuality as well. This is a Seven Seas title. Shimura Takako's Even Though We're Adults is a story about the complications of adult life, centered on the relationship between a lesbian and a married woman who fall in love with one another. I honestly think this may well be Shimura-sensei's best work to date. Viz Media puts this one out. Ohi Pikashi's Our Teachers Are Dating is 100% sweetness. Two teachers fall in love and are surrounded by supportive students, colleagues, and administration. This story has some of the most consensual and most lovingly portrayed sex scenes I've ever read in manga. It's something we can point to show a manga by an out mangaka that isn't about dealing with being gay, just about the love and joy of a relationship. This and the next title are also both from Seven Seas. In high contrast to Our Teachers Are Dating, Black and White by Sal Jiang portrays a violent rivalry between two cutthroat women in an office. This series is not for the faint of heart, as there is a fair amount of explicit violence between them. So why mention it? These rivals never punch down and occasionally team up, which makes for great tension. Which brings me to exactly why I wanted to do this video. Yuri has come a long way in 100 years, but it's come double that way in the last half a decade, because this year, Yuri is very queer indeed. So far this decade, we've had not one Yuri manga about a lesbian, or even two, or even three. Even setting aside Shikaijin Yuri, in which women loving women or being lesbian is actually discussed, we had a pretty good series of webcomics to manga, anthologies, and manga series in which queer women and their stories are being centered. And many of these by openly queer creators, a vast change from my season 2 video asking if any Yuri creators at all were queer. Butch Squared was an independently crowdfunded anthology about butch couples. Notably, it was sold in print and digitally in both Japanese and English simultaneously. Seven Seas has published the amazing, gorgeous, and emotionally compelling Our Dreams at Dusk Shimanami Tasugari. This is a story about the LGBTQ+ community in Japan by a Gender X creator. Also from Seven Seas, my lesbian experience with loneliness set off a trend of manga about mental and physical health, and in a continuation of the series, My Wandering Warrior Existence is an ongoing look at creator Nagata Kabi's evolving understanding of gender, sexuality, and relationships. Tamiful's How Do We Relationship is an extremely realistic story of college-age women navigating emotional and sexual relationships, out now from Viz Media. While I'm in Love with the Villainess is not realistic at all, being an isekai story with a high fantasy setting, the discussions of life and love as sexual and gender minorities could not be more frank. Seven Seas has both the light novel and manga adaptations of Inori's series and its spin-offs coming in 2023. This is an amazing story that, along with She Loves to Cook, She Loves to Eat, never fails to impress me. 2023 will see us getting The Girl Who Can't Get a Girlfriend, which began life as an autobiographical webcomic about a butch lesbian who always wanted a butch girlfriend and her first romantic relationship. Viz Media is putting this out, and I, for one, can't wait. In a post-KuToo world, one might imagine that there'd be a lot more content by and for women that center a feminist view. In this case, one would be correct. In the last few years, where we're really seeing this is in the world of web novels and light novels. Among these, here are a few notable titles I want to highlight. J Novel Club published Sexiled. My sexist party leader kicked me out, so I teamed up with a mythical sorceress. This series, written by Kairuda Amiko, was specifically meant as a feminist response to a real-world scandal in which it was found that women's scores on Japanese medical school exams were being lowered to give men a better chance to gain entrance. This outstanding novel series is, in my opinion, a perfect feminist story because it relies on women's skills and community building to gain revenge over systemic and individual misogyny rather than simply using violence for retribution. Kairuda-sensei also wrote a spin-off, A Lily Blooms in Another World, available as an ebook from J Novel Club. as a blunt look at the way women's skills are devalued by powerful men. This novel, too, relies on women forming support networks and valuing each other and making one another feel valued as the tactic that wins the day. Other Side Picnic, also from J Novel Club, is written by a man and not explicitly feminist, but it is notable for never putting the female protagonists into situations where their well-being is threatened just because they are women. It's a horror science fiction series, so they are often in danger, but they aren't being threatened with harassment and sexual violence of the sort that action stories almost casually toss into women's narratives as if being raped is normal and expected instead of a horrific act. Lastly, I'm in Love with the Villainess, again, has explicit discussion of systemic oppression of women and sexual and gender minorities. It hasn't made much inroads in proposing or illustrating a better way, but neither does the series shy from being scornful of the social norms that insist on those standards. Before I finish up here, I want to briefly mention that 2023 is looking to be an amazing year with Yuri anime, with 3 Yuri anime so far that are openly marketed as Yuri and another potential one on the way. 2 of the announced anime and 1 of the potential anime run in Comic Yuri Hime magazine, and in a 180-degree turn from any and all other manga that they have turned into anime, these are actually some of my favorite stories that run in the magazine. Mimon's Yuri is My Job is a comedic romp through Maria Sama ga Miteru-inspired Yuri tropes. High schooler Hime finds herself working at a Yuri concept cafe with an One-sama who appears to hate her guts. Why, and what happens, is the subject of 11 amazing volumes of manga so far, 10 are out from Kodansha, and the current arc has become openly queer and is really quite astounding. Inori's I'm in Love with the Villainess is also getting an anime in 2023. Fans already have a lot of opinions about the trailer, but I'm going to hope that the series gets the treatment it deserves. And while it's not confirmed yet, it looks like Whisper Me a Love Song, one of the sweetest and most charming school romances I've ever read, will be getting an anime as well. I sure hope so, because this series by Takeshima Eku could really make a terrific actual shoujo Yuri romance. The manga is available in English from Kodansha. The Magical Revolution of the Reincarnated Princess is another isekai series, this one not running in Comic Yuri Hime. Both light novel and manga are out from Yen Press. It's a surprisingly interesting story. I'm actually reading volume 3 right now, and I'm really interested to see how the anime turns out. And lastly, I really have to mention the fact that in 2022, Yuri fans and researchers finally got something we have never had before, a book on the history of Yuri. I'm already working on some new articles that may well one day be the basis of my next book, but I really want to take a second and celebrate the publication and the success, thank you all very much, of By Your Side, First 100 Years of Yuri Anime and Manga. This book is the first of its kind, and I hope you'll pick up a copy to further your interest in research. I'm looking forward now to reading your articles and books. In 2015, when I did part 1, I was really hopeful about the future of Yuri. As you can see, the last few years have really opened up a whole new world for Yuri. So much has changed for the better in just a few short years. I'm looking at the whole rest of the decade ahead, really excited to see what's in store for us. My very special thanks to all my Okazu patrons, all of you who like and share my videos here. If you enjoy these videos and the work we do on Okazu, please consider supporting us on Patreon or Ko-fi. Links will be below. Subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notifications when we do new videos. And that's it for Season 3. We've come a long way, babies. Thanks for joining us on this journey. I'll see you next year on Season 4 of Yuri Studio.